Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories.
In today's video, we've got two stories and both of them have updates. So let's get started with the first one. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user MonitorTrue2234. Am I the a-hole for insisting on a paternity test before accepting my ex-wife's son as my own? I, 32 male, was married to my ex-wife Jane, 30 female, for 5 years. Our marriage ended after I discovered she had been cheating on me for about a year with multiple men. She got pregnant and confessed that she didn't know if the baby was mine or her affair partner's. A couple of months after the divorce, I tried to reach out to her to see if the baby was mine but couldn't, and I learned through a friend that she and her new partner had left the country. That was 2 years ago and I thought that was that. But recently, Jane reached out to my mother claiming that her kid is mine and in need of financial help. Jane told my mother that her partner left her when he found out the kid was not his. Now, for context, my mother has been desperate for grandkids, especially since my older brother is gay and child-free, and I've been single since the divorce. She's been relentless in pressuring me to help out Jane. However, I have my doubts about her infidelity. I find it hard to trust her claims without concrete evidence. So, I've insisted on a paternity test before committing to any financial or emotional support. If the child is indeed mine, I'll gladly step up and fulfill my responsibilities as a father. But I refuse to do so without proper legal documentation. My mother and Jane are both vehemently against the idea of involving lawyers or going through the legal process. They insist that the child is mine based on similar resemblances, like having blue eyes, which I have, but Jane has blue eyes as well. This issue came to a head when my mother posted a picture on Facebook of her and the kid titled, "My grandson." Now, family members and some friends know about this issue and are contacting me. When I tell them I don't know if the kid is mine and want to do a paternity test, they call me selfish and irresponsible. My family members are saying my mother will only say that because she is sure that the kid is mine. My friends say I'm an a-hole for punishing the kid for what my ex-wife did. There is a chance the kid is mine, but I can't shake off my doubts, and I refused to be manipulated into a situation where I might end up responsible for a kid who may not be mine. I'm willing to do what's right, but I need certainty first. But it's driving me crazy with so many people close to me saying I should just take responsibility. My older brother is the only one who is on my side, and he thinks it is because my mother has accepted the kid that others are willing to accept it too, and because of family bonds, which are a major thing here. However, I am standing firm on my decision to do a paternity test. Well, OP, I think you're absolutely right. First, no, you're not the a-hole, and do not accept anybody until you are certain that that child is yours. And honestly, everybody else's opinion here is just that, an opinion that nobody asked for. So those friends of yours calling you an a-hole, well, they can go sit in a corner for a bit and on timeout. And actually, well, I'd rethink my friendship with those idiots. And also, all these family members that are coming out of the woodwork to tell you to accept responsibility. Yeah, sure. I'll accept responsibility once there's DNA proof that that is my child, because I don't believe for a second that my cheating ex that slept with a myriad of men just knows that the child is mine. So no, show me the proof and then we can see how we move forward. Now, I gotta say, I'm really sorry for that kid that his trashy mom is using him as bait for a clear scam. Because let's be honest, if she's refusing a DNA test, it's because she knows the truth. And what do you guys think about OP's situation? How would you handle it? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Carpe Ciprinidae says, not the a-hole. This is obvious. You should also reply on your mother's Facebook post stating that your ex-wife had a baby after adultery and after leaving you, and that until such a time as a paternity test is agreed to, the child is not known to be your son or your mother's grandson. And that you have reasons to doubt that you could be the father due to timing and the refusal to confirm it by testing. Concerned for Humans says, there was once a post where the grandmother, much like yours, was desperate for a grandchild and embraced the affair child of the partner of the Redditor. Redditor limited contact with his mother, got married and had children of his own. Grandmother now complains to family that she has no access to her real grandchildren. Talk to your mom, tell her she is free to choose. You're not shirking your responsibilities, but if the child is not yours, she needs to consider her next steps. Mapilean says, not the a-hole. The very least your ex-wife should provide if she wants economic support is a paternity test. Your mother is very welcome to invite random people in her life, but she definitely shouldn't dump them and their financial support on your shoulders. Tell the crazy people who want you to take responsibility that you can't, since you don't even know if there is any responsibility to take. Jane should take her responsibility. I bet she doesn't want to provide a paternity test because if the child turns out not to be yours, she won't get the financial support she wants. Moocher. Additional information from OP's comments. I am not from the US. Our law doesn't immediately put me on the hook just because we were married. I don't need a paternity test to prove I'm not the dad. I want a paternity test to see if what Jane claims is true because she left the country before the kid was born. Also, I know I am not on the birth certificate. Alright, well, the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole and that he should stand his ground regarding this DNA test thing because it's the only way to know for sure if he is on the hook or not. And also OP gave us a little bit of information regarding the timeline, that she left before the kid was born, that he is not on the kid's birth certificate, and that he wants this test to see if what Jane says holds water. So now it's time that we move on to the update to see how the story ends. But before that, if you're enjoying this video so far, please don't forget to click that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe if you haven't done so yet. And now let's move on with that update. So a lot of stuff has happened and I'm exhausted from dealing with this issue. Despite trying to talk reason to my mother, it got nowhere. My brother and I managed to talk to our aunt, who is on my side after she learned what had happened. She was able to convince my mother to talk to me, and we agreed to meet at her house. However, it quickly devolved into arguing, with my mother still insisting the baby was mine and accusing both my brother and me of betraying her for not giving her grandkid. My brother finally snapped and asked her if she was willing to lose 2 sons over this, which made her go quiet. With my aunt's help, we convinced her to talk to Jane for a paternity test. A couple of hours after I left, my aunt called me and asked me to arrange the test. According to my aunt, it took some arguing between Mom and Jane to get her to agree to the test, but Jane eventually agreed. So I scheduled the test at a clinic, and the earliest appointment I could get was 3 days from that day. I relayed all of this to my mother and aunt and got the okay from them. Then, the day before the test, my brother and I got a call from our aunt, and she asked us to come to our mother's house as soon as possible. When we got there, we saw our mother sitting on the sofa crying. I asked what happened, and she said Jane was gone. Now, I knew Jane was back in the country and was visiting my mother every day, but I did not know it was my mother who facilitated everything. My mother revealed that after Jane contacted her, she flew Jane and the baby out, put her in an apartment near her house, and had been paying rent for her. She was also buying her and the baby things for a month and a half before they told me. I live just an hour away from my mother, and I talk to her on the phone about 4 or 5 times a week. She has never told me about any of this. Anyway, after Jane agreed to the test, she asked for some money, and she told my mother that after the test confirmed that I was the father, she needed to buy some essential home stuff as she intended to stay near us. So, my mother gave her an amount close to $8,000 US. After she got the money, she did not come and see my mother, so my mother went to the apartment and saw that it was empty. I asked why she did ever trust someone who had lied so much before. She said all her friends are grandmothers and they are always with their grandkids, and she feels left out when she is with them. Then she gets up and says, "All of this is my fault." She came up to me and slapped me and just went crazy, yelling and crying, and she kept hitting me. My aunt and brother managed to get her off of me. She kept saying I was a horrible son and I should have just accepted the baby. She then turned to my brother and started yelling at him too, accusing him of instilling his childless life in me and telling him that he was an embarrassment to her. Then she started off ranting, saying Jane was right to cheat on me. If I had agreed to start a family with Jane back then, none of this would have ever happened. For context, Jane wanted to try for a baby the second year into our marriage, but I had to keep that on hold as I made a major career change, and Jane and I both agreed to wait until I was financially secure. I also want to point out this was not the reason she gave me for her infidelity. Anyway, my aunt managed to calm my mother down and somewhat diffuse the situation and asked us to leave. She said she would try to reason with her. I tried to call my mother the next day, but she blocked me on everything. My brother and I agree she needs therapy, but she's not willing to listen or talk to us. As for Jane, I was furious at her and wanted to find her. I asked my friends to help and told them what happened. They are idiots, but they apologized to me, stepped up, and supported me these past few days. I tried contacting different people through friends and their mutual friends until one of them put me in contact with Claire, who was one of Jane's bridesmaids at our wedding. I told her what happened and she was shocked at learning about it. According to Claire, Jane is back in the country with her partner, and a couple of days ago, Jane called her and a few others asking for money as she and her partner are going through some tough financial. Claire says she doesn't know if Jane and her partner are separated. Jane had never told her anything of that sort. She said that when she talked to Jane, she only said they were struggling financially. I told Claire what Jane had done and that Jane had insisted that her son was mine. Claire said that Jane told her that the kid was her current partner's 2 years back. Then she said she needed to talk to Jane and her partner to see what was going on. Claire kept saying she truly did not know what was going on, but she was going to ask around. That was 6 days ago, and I tried to call Claire again, but she won't answer me now. I am not going to pursue this anymore. I have my answer. So that's the update. It's not the conclusion I wanted, but I don't care anymore. My mother still hasn't talked to me or my brother as of right now. I asked my aunt to let my mother know that if she refused to talk to us or get help, then my brother and I would permanently have no contact as well. Family still says I'm in the wrong as it's my fault for not being married or having kids. I told them to F off and never contact me again. My brother and I only tolerated them for my mother anyway. I now firmly believe that the baby is not mine. Well, OP, of course it sucks that your mom is on that mindset. Yeah, she definitely needs therapy, but that doesn't excuse what she's done here. She was so desperate to have grandkids to fit in with her peer group that she willingly helped your cheating ex try to scam you into accepting a child that wasn't yours. And your ex, man, what a piece of trash. She made some bank with your mom and then just ran away because that's all that she wanted, just some money. And she was willing to use her kid in order to do that. Again, a piece of trash, and Claire knows this. That's why she's not picking up the phone anymore. But in any case, OP, as you said, you've got your answer. Yeah, I think we're all sure here that that baby is not yours, and you can start moving on with your life. Hopefully your mom gets the help that she needs, and maybe she can try to make amends to you and your brother. But that's a whole other story. In the meantime, here's wishing you the best in the future, OP. Thank you for sharing and take care. And now let's move on to the next post that, like I said in the beginning, also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Relationships and it's by user Goddamn Bird Lawyer. I, 34 female, ghosted by 34 male after exchanging I love yous. I, 34 female, was involved with Adam, 34 male, for 4 months. We are in a unique situation where we work and live together in a remote location, so over this time, we often saw each other multiple times a day. He pursued me, and I wasn't sure about getting involved with him at first due to our work and living situation and fundamental incompatibilities. including living across the country from one another and him having children from a previous marriage that he didn't have much of a relationship with. Despite my uncertainties, we developed a strong bond and became a couple. We agreed that once our contract was up and we left the space, we wouldn't be romantically involved. However, we fell for each other anyway, and we exchanged I love yous shortly before our contract ended, and we went our separate ways. We texted for 2 days before he unexpectedly blocked me on social media and ghosted me. Our last text exchange was about our days and that we missed each other. Nothing to indicate that he didn't want to keep in touch. I'm left wondering if it was all a lie. Other than his phone number and Instagram, I have no connection to him and I don't know anyone in his life. I'm replaying our conversations in my head. He never indicated that we would see each other after we left, although I mentioned visiting each other more than once. That time, he drunkenly texted me that he loved me after only knowing each other for 2 months. That text was meant for someone else, wasn't it? Did he have a wife or girlfriend this entire time? How could I be such a fool? I'm not sure what I'm expecting from this post because you can't answer any of the questions swirling around in my head. I'm just hurt, confused, and spiraling. What the actual F? Well, OP, based on what you tell us, I have an assumption, and of course it implies that Adam is scum. I'm kinda guessing that he lied to you about a lot of things, particularly him being single. He could be married or he could be in a relationship with somebody, cause that I love you from that drunken text 2 months in, like you say, doesn't sound like it was for you. I mean, why would he text you if he lives with you? I'm guessing he just wanted to cheat on his partner and you were the victim of his scummy plan. And in that plan, it was the convenience of telling you that you guys lived across the country, because that could be another lie as well, because that put you in the mindset that this would just be some sort of a work fling, and after the contract was up, you wouldn't be in contact, which is extremely convenient for him if he has a partner. And apart from saying all of that, I'm just really sorry that you're stuck in that situation, OP. And what do you guys think about all of this? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Maximum Caramel 1592 says, he sounds very married or in a relationship to me. Why block you otherwise? You live miles away from one another. It's not like you're going to stalk him. Weirdly, there is a certain kind of guy that feels telling you he loves you might make you feel better before they vanish. Like it's some kind of consolation prize. But the fact is, people who are in love try to make it work in some way, or at least go for proper closure. One to chalk up to experience. I'm sorry this happened to you. And OP responds, I'm thinking the same thing, that he was in a relationship this whole time. He knows I would have respected his wishes if he didn't want to stay in touch after we left. I guess I'll never know for sure. If he did cheat, I hope he got caught and she has the strength to leave his sorry ass. Remote Position 4500 says he is with his wife and children and don't want you to disturb him. And Ravishing Red RN says, honestly, pay $2 for a reverse phone number lookup. His phone number will likely be linked to an address also known as his home. You'll also get people he's associated with at that address, also known as his wife. You can likely get her name and maybe even phone number. Give her a ring. Make sure you have evidence or proof for her. Source: had to do this with someone I saw on and off for years. They never invited me to their place. I had suspicions. His girlfriend, who became his wife, was a female name associate with his address. Confirmed what I suspected. Best $2 ever spent. OP's edit. Well, I got confirmation from his friend here that he was in a relationship the entire time. It was all a lie. Multiple people knew and didn't say a word to me. This has completely effed with my head. Edit 2. If you are one of those people who are an internet detective, please DM me. I want to tell his wife. Edit 3. I found who I believe is his wife online. Couldn't find a marriage certificate, but there is enough circumstantial evidence for me to be pretty sure. I sent her a message with screenshots of our texts. Let's burn this crap to the ground. Alright, well, the community agrees. He was most likely in a relationship, and Opie was able to confirm all that. And the people that she works with are also, very crappy if they didn't say anything to her. Regardless, Opie is now ready to go nuclear on Adam's ass, so let's move on to the update to see what happened next. I've never been involved in so much drama in my entire life. I video chatted with his wife last night. He was in the room with her. She knew before I sent the message that he cheated. She found the Valentine's Day card I had written him in his luggage. She started by telling me that from what I had wrote on that card, I clearly didn't know him. No crap. She knew he was a liar and a cheat. He told her he was just using me and that there was nothing romantic on his end. She apologized for his behavior and asked him if he had anything to say for himself. I saw him briefly on the call, but that coward just looked away. I told her that I was sorry this happened to her too, that I hoped she made the right decision for herself, and that I would not be contacting him again. She was clearly hurt, but I'm glad I told her. I'm hoping I can put this all to rest. The icing on this effed up cake is that I signed a second contract and I'm stuck in this remote place for another 7 months. It's a small community and I have to see his friend who enabled Adam's cheating daily. It's out and a bunch of people now know. Oh, and just a warning to anyone thinking of cheating. It's amazing what you can find online these days. He had nearly zero web presence, but I was still able to find not only his wife, but his mother, in-laws, siblings, and home address. And I'm not even that tech savvy. Well, OP, it sucks for you, of course, because you gotta be stuck with that group of people who clearly lied to you, but the good thing is that you told the wife. I don't know if she's gonna make the right decision if she's sitting next to him talking to you, but hopefully she does. And for you, well, hopefully these next 7 months aren't as crappy as the previous 4. Take care, OP, and thank you for sharing. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out, so here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later, and also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.